Welcome back to part 2 of today's mini lesson. I hope that you enjoyed chapters 5 and 6. So as we saw, Crash went over to Penweb's house for dinner, met his family, and was very judgmental of the way that Pen and his family live. And Crash, as we've learned, says whatever on his mind, and he vocalized it. So the very first difference that I'm going to describe between these two characters is that Crash is rude. Crash says whatever is on his mind. I wrote down that Crash looked at Pen's dad and said, "Are you guys poor?" I would describe somebody who is so upfront and blunt like that as a little bit rude. I have not seen or heard Pen saying anything rude. I found Pen to be very polite. So I would say that's a big difference that I learned about these two characters in this chapter. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. And I'm going to add that few percent. I'm going to add that to my compare and contrast chart. I don't think I can add to it if I'm in. No. Okay. I'm going to add here that Crash is very rude. I was going based off of his words and his dialogue when he said this. Are you guys poor? Then I'll look over here at Penweb's column, and I would say I think Penweb is very polite. He invited Crash over for dinner and treated him very nicely. So that's the first difference that I found between these two characters during those two chapters. I'm also going to go ahead and say that I think that Crash is a little bit dishonest. I think it was the end of chapter 4 when they were racing, and they're actually both very good runners. I'm going to add that in here. I'm going to say that Crash is dishonest because at the end of the chapter, Crash said that he kept seeing in his mind how they both finished at the same time, but he led Pen to believe that he lost the race. So I'm going to add that to Crash's column. I think he's dishonest. Whereas again, from what we've seen from Penweb, he seems to be a very honest person. The last thing that I'm going to say that I've noticed between differences between these two characters, first of all, I think there's an overwhelming amount of differences and very few similarities so far, is that Pen described himself as a Quaker, and a Quaker is somebody who is not violent, does not believe in violence, does not believe in war. So I'm going to add nonviolent to Pen's column, and then I'm going to go ahead and say that Crash is the complete opposite. Crash wanted to have a water gun fight with him, tells him that all of his favorite toys are toys that you can be a little bit violent with. So I think they're complete opposites in that aspect. And Crash was even vocalizing to Pen's dad how he couldn't believe how Pen didn't believe in any games that included any violence. So these two characters have an overwhelming amount of differences and very few similarities. So what I would like you to do is click on the Google form attached below and come up with some of your own similarities and differences for these two characters. Don't worry if you can't come up with many similarities, because I haven't noticed many either at this point. All right, friends, nice job today, and looking forward to our next reading lesson together. See you later.